Is it bad when you...
Pew, 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 pew.
Is it bad when you have this token for waiting until we
No,
go live?
Is it bad when you Google a company?
Pew.
And the first thing that autofills on Google is blank company a pyramid scheme?
I've done that before, and it's like, whoops. Probably not a good idea there. Good gravy, child.
What?
You didn't hear him?
I take no ownership of this. I just married him. I am contractually obligated to be here.
Deal with his...
You know how I had a McFish for lunch? That was a McFart. And it'll turn into a McFlurry.
Oh, McFlurry. It'll be a true McFlurry.
It'll turn into a McFlurry later.
No, the ice cream machine's broken.
So I guess it won't be soft ice cream. It'll come out hard.
Remember, like I said, soft serve.
You know...
Are we live right now?
Yes.
Oh, crap.
The Squatty Potty commercial.
Oh, the unicorn pooping
I
unicorn?
can't eat soft serve ice cream
Okay,
anymore.
stop. Because I went with him today to go get more propane, and he blew it up at Walmart, and then for the next 35 minutes, he wanted to talk about how it was a life-changing experience, the poop he just took.
My overalls fit better.
Hey, as long as you feel better, right?
Pretty sure I needed a cigarette when I was done.
Brett said you were serious about the beard. Yep.
Yeah. Kind of got in a little trouble.
How?
You were upset
Because
about
you had
the
sawdust. He had sawdust in his beard, y'all.
You're not wearing that mask I want you. Yes, I am.
Well, it's not doing what it's supposed to do.
You know, sawdust does little more than man litter.
Dee said, Doc is confused. Robin's not in her chair.
Told ya. You didn't believe me.
It's funny
Who's
that Doc is Dee's husband.
I have sat on your right hand
for a couple of weeks now, at least.
Since early last month, anyway.
But not in this chair.
Like December.
Yeah,
There was
it
a
doesn't
break.
matter. It's just
We left and came back.
you would be surprised at how.
I mean, legally, by now, the state of Georgia could actually give you a ticket because you haven't changed your driver's license.
But they'd have to prove.
Yeah, that you've been here this long. All right, yeah.
We thoroughly documented it.
He's like, well, kind of.
Thanks, YouTube.
We have been under immense pressure from Facebook to register
to vote
in a primary that we would never participate in. Anyway.
You know what? I would die laughing. I mean, I would probably have a heart attack and die if you registered here and then got jury duty.
So, did I not tell you? Last week, my father-in-law sends me a text message, and it was a jury summons.
Uh-huh.
I am 37 years old. It's the second jury summons I've ever got. The
I've
first
never
one,
gotten one.
I was in Greenland when I got the first one.
This one,
and
you're
then this
out of
one, right?
state.
Yeah, it's just like
Never,
20-year rotation.
That's
Never,
funny.
never. And Elberton, why? Georgia, why?
That's a good point, Lauren. I forgot. Last week he wasn't even hardly on camera.
That's right, Cattywampus.
Yeah.
I appreciate you
yeah.
for
That's
acknowledging.
not what you were saying when they left the other day.
What was it?
You were trying to flash back to the 90s and singing some rap song.
No, that's reggae. It's Inner Circle. So, you
F
know.
the Police was not reggae.
No.
I've never listened to rap music, especially.
Then how were you quoting it? I mean, you were almost like lyric for lyric.
No. I would never buy an album where the title of the album or the group was Neanderthals with Attitude. Okay, I would never buy the NWA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
Not okay.
Not
Well, I
okay.
mean, you don't have to buy it when you pull it up on YouTube.
Hey, you know what?
And you was like,
Yeah, you're over here. Don't get me demonetized. But thank you, Cattywampus, for acknowledging the making the people of YouTube suffer in my absence last Saturday. Oh God, it's been another whole week, hasn't it?
Anna's really excited to see your facial expressions because she didn't get to see them last week.
Last week,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
You know, I am animated, so.
Okay, his best facial expression, he goes like this. And that means he's farting.
Or if he lift, just watch him lift.
He'll
just a
lift.
little bit.
He's a lifter. And he tries to play it off by moving in the chair and
Point it towards me.
Yeah, and he points it towards Katie.
What's this shit?
Oh, it's funny. Hey, Farmer Brad, what's up?
What's up, Farmer Brad? So, Duncan 1900, Mimsy, Busy Little House, Kathy, Geeky Gardens, Farmer Brad, Breakaway,
Look, beard looks good, Jason.
Rustic Traditions. So, Breakaway is his wife.
Is the one
I
that.
know.
He's the
Yeah.
yeah.
When did we meet him? Mark?
No,
No, when? This is awkward.
Pioneer woman.
Yeah,
Breakaway.
that's the one that pioneered.
Hey.
Oh!
Breakaway.
Oh! Hey Pat, if you could just text Jason your phone number and have him forward it to me. I've got some potentially inappropriate things to share with you.
So you see the picture with the bee up there, the
Uh-huh.
honeybee.
Oh, Scriptway, yes.
Yes. We nicknamed him Scrapeaway Homestead because he did a bee video. What?
He seems like the type that shouldn't trust a fart. Jason or Lauren, one of them.
It only takes once after the age of 35 of trusting a fart when you shouldn't to know that you should in fact not trust a fart. Thus saith the wise man with clean underwear.
That's cool. Farmer Brad said he just started a side hustle this week. Places of Wayne County aerial drone business. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so you were saying the video, he did a video on beekeeping and got
Yeah.
stung.
So,
He kept all of his military bearing,
I was really impressed with this.
but he was getting lit up.
uh-huh.
And he was standing behind this hive like this. And he was talking. And he was like, and when you get stung, you have to remain calm. You just scrape it away and
Just
keep
keep
going.
going.
And then he started talking, and then just scrape it away. Keep going. Scrape it away.
He's getting tagged, and like he's not reacting. And finally, he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna have to stop the video now. I've really upset them." Oh, so it's Lauren, not Jason. He's working. He must be at his second job.
Mm-hmm. I like them scattered, smothered, and covered.
So
Capped, diced.
funny story. When we first met them, they were
Who's
like,
them?
"Well, we
You
cattywampus,
people.
Jason and Lauren." We were talking to them, and they're like, "Well, we've got to get going because Jason has to go to his second job." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And he said, "Yeah, I have to go to Waffle House." Now, my blonde brain is like, "Wait, a detective has to have a second job working at Waffle House?" I didn't even think about the fact that it was a special, like it was security there. Didn't even occur to me until like the
And
following
then she's
week.
like, but he's got all of his teeth. How
I'm
did
like,
he get hired there?
how's he working at Waffle House?
So we went. This has something to do with Waffle House. Bear with me.
Bear with me.
Big bear with me on the Big Bear Homestead. So we went to Forest City yesterday. We went on a homeschool field trip.
Uh-huh. That's how you write it.
That's how you write off your traveling for taxes. It's a homeschool.
Right? And
Field
that's
trip.
how you fill in your
Right, yeah,
hours
absolutely.
of school.
So we went to Forest City because the boys and I needed a haircut.
Mm-hmm.
There's a great meat shop there, Wells, Jenkins, and Wells, and we stopped and paid the rent and loaded up because when we get around to leaving your place, we will go west.
Right.
We're not sure when, but we will. Right. And then we went to Looking Glass Creamery, but we treated the kids to Waffle House, right?
Uh-huh.
Because, Waffle House is like, you ever watch the episodes of Cops where, like, it's the battered wives, and they're like, don't take him, I love him, don't arrest him, no, he's the love of my life. That's kind of how we are with Waffle House. Only
Right.
We're, Waffle House is the abusive spouse to our sensitive colon. And so we go to this Waffle House, and the ladies are sweet and seemingly
Sassy.
And sassy, yep.
and you can just tell by all the tattoos that they're on work release programs. But they start arguing among themselves about who had the best
or the most
misdemeanor offenses.
Oh my god.
And I'm like this is
reckless driving.
Yeah, this is like showing up in an AA meeting
So
and
we
having
should not
people,
be bragging about these
right?
things,
You know,
right?
it's like a
It was-
punchline to a joke.
It was
Like,
lunch and a show.
it was lunch and a
That's
show,
what
right?
it was.
That's
And
crazy.
So
The bad thing is they were proud of it.
yeah, and it was hilarious. But this is the same Waffle House. This is where we lost our Waffle House virginity. It was the first one we ever went to. And it's also I saw my first drug deal ever in my 37 years outside this Waffle House.
And then you saw one today with an old lady and her dog.
Where was that? I missed that.
We almost ran them over. And you were like, oh,
that
that
was
was
a drug deal? Oh, I was just being facetious.
No.
Oh, it was probably pills because she was old and white.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
No, for real.
We're in Albert and Hart County. White people do meth too.
Well, no, but she's old.
No, she was older, more.
She's
doesn't matter.
she's pimping out the Part D plan of her Social Security, like Medicare Part
I got
D,
you, I got you.
paying the rent, if you know what I mean. And and Lauren's gonna back me up on this. I guarantee it. Back me up, Lauren.
Make sure the needles aren't in your
You
food.
just jam it.
Oh, yeah. So we went to Waffle House, and it was a cultural experience. That's the best way to describe
Yep,
it. It is
yep.
like the guy cooking the food, bless his heart. Oh no.
Yes!
Oh.
Yes!
I did.
Dee just said earlier that she could understand you better because you're starting to get a southern accent.
So-
and you just said bless his heart.
So
Yes.
you know when you
Are we really starting to get southern accent?
so we
Wow, you're like a naive rookie.
We're-
That's what Lauren said.
right? I completely agree. But the guy cooking our gut bomb food that Jason heard so much about today on the way out.
Heard so much
Right.
of. on the
Well,
way
that too.
out.
And
Oh, he was talking about how he filled the toilet and then
Oh
how
my
his
god.
pants fit better and he needed a cigarette afterwards.
He
And,
doesn't smoke.
we've rehashed
And he
this.
doesn't, yeah.
and then 5 minutes later, he's like, I'm so hungry because I made all that room.
So totally lost my train of thought. No, okay. So the cook of the Waffle House had like star tattoos in all the places where they tell you if you get tattoos on your face, you'll end up working at a Waffle House.
Right.
And it was just like I came to the conclusion.
It was every stereotype you
Right,
could think
right.
of in the store at
And
that
I was
time.
I was telling some friends of ours up in Forest City that, you know, growing up on the West Coast, listening to like Jeff Foxworthy and who's the
Bill
huge
Engvall.
Bill Engvall, like
You think it's just comedy.
right, and at some point you're like these guys are just being mean, and then you travel to the Southeast and you break down here and you live in a trailer in someone's front yard,
Now you're rebelling.
right? And you're like,
You haven't taken the wheels off and it's not up on blocks yet.
Yep, getting a little red.
right? It's like these guys weren't being mean; they were just being observant. You know what they were? They are the David Attenborough of the people of the Southeast. That's all they're doing. They're just reporting, like it's some nature documentary, on the cultural doings.
Like, hey, y'all won't believe this.
Right, for real.
Look,
So
that whole hold my beer thing is not like a joke. That's
No.
for real.
no. And
Oh, you don't think I can do it? Hold my beer. I'll be right back.
hold my glass of 2016 Chateau de Bordeaux. It just doesn't sound the same. So it's hold my beer.
That's
and-
exactly right.
We're not drinking water out of these glasses.
That does it. Paul picked up Southern Savings, so that limits where limits where they will end up finally moving once they leave Big Bear's driveway to the south. Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, maybe North Carolina.
Tennessee has a very favorable tax structure.
Yes, they do.
So
Their sales tax.
Well, no.
Yes.
The plan, we move as far east into Tennessee as we can. So we get all the income tax breaks of Tennessee.
Thank you, Dragon's
And then we hop over the border into North Carolina and spend all of our money there. So we basically, we live freely and screw both states.
Hey.
You know, when we were in Augusta, we had 2 Army guys that kind of came and interned with us. And they were both zeros.
Mm-hmm.
And so for one of the things they wrote a paper in college or did a research thing.
Research that, yeah.
And come to find out, the best place to homestead, now they took into consideration climate soil conditions, taxes, laws, all this.
Like cottage laws, all that stuff.
All that kind of stuff was actually the state of Tennessee. And there was one little, I forget the county, but it was in this one county in Tennessee.
Was the most favorable within that,
So.
I don't even remember his name, but
I'm sorry.
I feel like his name was Brent.
Kathleen Moses. Hello, Big Baker Bear and Queso Maker. Yes. That is what we've become, an amalgam or a contraction.
Yeah, something like that.
We were explaining to someone today, it's like feels like it's rapidly descending into some weird religious cult.
Breakaway said, coworker said coronavirus is in line with the Guidestones. I'm like, what? Elberton? It's not funny, Pat.
I want to go see the Guidestones, but we are fresh out of anointing oil and tambourines.
I'm telling you,
I'm not sure I can handle the darkness of the place.
You know, when's the spring, was it equinox?
Not until April, I think, right?
Well, if you're still here then.
No, April.
That night, we'll go out, night vision goggles, and watch them.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
There's some crazy...
You could sell them like chickens and pigs and whatnot to sacrifice.
Funny story. He used to have...
You're not joking?
No.
Do they treat it like
some
Stonehenge?
crazy
Well, they're
stuff.
Masons. It's all Masonic.
Yeah.
What day is that?
I don't know.
Sorry, Mom and Dad. We gotta hang around for some crazy
Google.
pagan crap in Georgia.
When is the spring equinox? March 19th.
You might be here.
Well, at the rate Forest River's going.
Yes. Oh, that says 321. Google said 319, but I don't know.
You know, 319 would mark the 2 month.
It would. It would mark 2 months, wouldn't it?
So we are currently trying to get out of the driveway of Big Bear Homestead. I have been fighting for 2 weeks with Forest River, the manufacturer of our new trailer, and trying to work out the repair work. And sorry.
It's a Forest River, a Berkshire Hathaway company. So it's all your fault.
Berkshire Hathaway.
What's his name? The mutual of the Oracle of Omaha. What's his name? The wealthy guy, the old man.
I love how you use my live stream to kick somebody under the bus. You have truly become part of me.
So what if Mark Zuckerberg is Mark of the Beast and Trump is one of the trumpets in Revelations?
I think you need to go to Tim Hagee's church in Texas. That's all I gotta say about that.
Anyways, we had given our
Kirk Cameron will make the movie.
My bad. Yeah, it's leap year, so it's earlier. Yeah.
We tried giving our resignation.
Warren Buffett. There you go.
Warren Buffett. Yes.
Yeah.
Our resignation, or what is it called? Not resignation. Our we're gonna leave.
Yeah, we wanted to break the lease. I don't know, what do you call it?
Break the lease. Yeah.
Break the lease.
Notice of vacation.
There you go.
It's not happening yet.
Not yet. It's coming.
Yeah, so we got to sign a new lease with them.
I know. We wanted to. We were originally going to leave on Monday, like 3 weeks ago, but this Monday was our new Monday that we were going to leave, and we had not heard back anything until late Friday afternoon. So last night we were sitting in Jason Robbins' living room, and I'm like, okay, we need to talk. We need to discuss going down from a month-to-month lease to like a day-to-day lease.
Yep.
If we could renegotiate the terms.
We can renegotiate. That'll work. That'll be good.
Hey, Green Dream.
Now, let me. I want to say something right now. A lot of you guys, or just about everybody in here, knows that Blaze.
What's up, Sydney? What's up, Tori?
I'm not even talking to them.
I am.
A lot of you guys know that Blaze left
Sydney Poitier
a week ago.
Yes, he left on Monday.
For
not quite a week.
Paris Island for boot camp. And so I've been posting random things on Facebook.
Inspirational stuff.
And I've been hashtagging it
Team Blaze.
Team Blaze. And let me tell you, GDP, I love you guys so much. You guys have been hashtagging Team Blaze also, and the memes that you guys have been putting with it. And the other stuff. Dude,
# Team Blaze.
Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate that because that's
you've made
huge.
me the one with Captain America.
That was
made
funny.
me laugh, and I needed to laugh that
Did you
day.
see that
so...
one? He put in a GIF or whatever that was Captain America splitting wood. And
Because it was
ripping
the day of the initial strength test,
Mm-hmm.
and so that was really cool. I appreciate it. Please keep it up, because you've been making me smile.
Paul, in your case, instead of breaking your lease, wouldn't your case be releasing the parking brake?
So that's a good question. Who asked that question? Oh, Dragon's Talon 1001. Or 1001 or 1001. Let's take a minute and talk about park brakes, Jason. Why don't we share with it? This is number 2, by the way. I got one left.
3!
That's number 2. No, I rolled all the other ones into one. So why don't we take a moment to talk to the people of the Big Bear Nation
D wants to know what's an Amy.
about park
Just
brakes.
put it together and take the space
He calls that he calls a meme a meme because it's MEME. He calls them memes.
Yes.
Anyway.
I really
Now what were you saying?
So the park, thank you, Robbie. Thank you for bringing it back together. So
Hashtag loyalty.
No, I was getting ready to say the UU, and he was going back to the park break.
So-
I wasn't going there.
So for the 6 weeks we've been here, we've been really, we've been trying to offset our
squatter state.
Right, yeah, pretty much. File a quitclaim deed to their driveway.
I mean, taxes are coming up.
I know, right? And so long story short, we've been trying to do our part to help Jason get stuff done, and a couple extra sets of hands. And one of the things we did, Jason has a project vehicle that he needs. So we used my truck to pull it up to the shop, and then we had to push it in by hand. So Jason and I, we're not as young or as Marine-y or Air Force-y as we may have been 20-some years ago. So we're pushing the Jeep in. We're putting our backs into it. We're like, ooh, look at those forearms. Oh yeah. So we're pushing.
Stay out of the closet.
We're pushing the Jeep in, right? So this thing's really hard to push. So we get it in the shop, and Jason's like, don't forget to set the park brake. So I run around, because it's a right-hand drive, to the right-hand drive side of the Jeep to look in and discover that, oh, lo and behold, we're not as old and broken down as we may have first thought or feared. No, Jason, I don't need to set the park brake. You did before we moved.
And we've been pushing it with the park brake on.
So we're just bigger, sexier, and stronger than we knew. What now, Sydney? What?
Hey, Trip H!
Look
Top
at
of the
you.
morning to ya.
Wait, you can't really see him all that well with the lighting, but
So how do we fill out the census? We don't. We meet them at the gate with a gun and tell them to get off our property because we're Americans.
Yeah, we didn't fill out the census
Last
10 years ago?
time.
Yeah.
I refused them at the door. They're like, well, how many people? I'm like, go away. You don't need to know.
I saw
They'll
the
skip us.
I saw the National Guard was needing some drone pilots, but I just have 1 year left of eligibility. But I don't think I want to enlist at this point.
They'll basically skip us with the gate closed and locked.
Yeah.
And
Big black dog.
Big black dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Big white
always-
dog.
Big white
Yeah.
dog.
You got all your bases covered.
Yeah. Well, and then you see pigs. I mean,
Right.
I don't know about that.
A bottle of Chianti and fava beans. It's just
I
not
know,
good.
right? I need one of those face
Don't
masks.
you just love subtle serial killer humor? I mean, it just really brings people together.
I do like them.
so what we're talking about is Trip H. They sent us some
Elderberry cuttings.
they look like oak trees. So I don't know. He claims they're elderberry.
They are elderberry.
But I think he might have sent us some oak
Why are you
cuttings.
picking on him?
Well,
like
Because
that?
I can. Because that guy ate stuffed green peppers on his live stream
Oh, yeah.
and called me out like 4 times while he was eating them.
Yeah.
So when we met up with them at the Homesteading Life, was it Homesteading Life? Yeah, Homesteading Life.
Yeah, we met them before. We met them at a gas station, sat in the parking lot in their cool little trailer that they had. That was pretty neat.
That sounds scary.
No, it was actually kind of cool.
It was kind of cool trail.
Yeah, they converted
It doesn't
a horse.
leak.
They converted a horse trailer. They converted a horse trailer into an actual like living like area, and
That's
they can
awesome.
still use part of the trailer to haul a horse.
That's awesome.
So it is pretty neat. I would send you pines before I sent you oaks.
And so he purchased one of our big, because he wouldn't let us give it to him. He purchased one of our big Bear mugs with the logo on it. And he said, and I said, well, that's going to be, that'd be good for, you can enjoy a cold beer and think of me after work. He's like, I don't drink beer. I'm going to fill it up with milk.
The whole
milk.
thing up with milk. Even when he's hot. Like,
Even when
he
he's hot.
loves
He
cold
just
milk.
Drinks milk. He drinks like 3 of them a day.
Yeah.
And so we got to joking with him about it. Well, he sent us these mugs. And this says,
Got milk.
got milk. And it's got like
A cow.
well, I didn't think it was a camel.
It's a sheep.
It's a sheep.
Definitely a sheep.
It's a cow with a calf. And then that
And
is
then
our logo, right?
That's
there.
our logo.
Yeah.
So super cool.
Very, very cool. I read lips. Oops. Hand didn't cover.
See, he drank 1 gallon so far today. 1 gallon
What?
of milk.
Yeah.
That
He
sounds like
drinks.
a stomachache waiting to happen. So he's just like a one-man cheese factory. So that's what happens when milk hits that 98.6 degree tummy acid. Boom! Cottage cheese.
Jason with the haircut to showcase his
I know-
man bun.
I know Mr. Ashy ain't talking in the loofah. I know Mr. Ashy ain't talking. Gotta get the loofah.
Yeah, that was fun. So we, Sydney and his wife did a live stream this afternoon. They were talking about all the stuff they're going to grow this year. And she was talking about loofah. And they were going back and forth about how, can you have too many loofah?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Of course you don't.
They don't go bad. Once they're sponges,
They go bad.
They don't go bad.
The moment the leaves pop out of the ground, that's a bad day.
No, when you harvest them and you cut them up, bleach them, clean them, they're indefinite. They don't.
No, let me back you up real quick, because obviously you have forgotten, because see, you've been messing with loofahs so long, but you have forgotten that we're still dealing with your loofah apocalypse.
What are you talking about?
When you first grew them out yonder, and you were like, "Oh, look at it," and you went, and seeds went kakoosh.
Dragon's Talon 2021 plans for Big Bear Homestead. The introduction of the Big Bear RV Park.
We will be there first. Reviewer.
Yelp review.
5 stars.
That's awesome.
3.5 if he's lucky.
The best 2-month stay we've
Ever
Ever
had. We were talking about this. So, funny story. Y'all need to look this up in your spare time. If you go
Thank
on
you,
to-
Dragon.
If you go onto Google Maps and look up MCRD, which is Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Paris Island.
Mm-hmm.
If you Google that, it will tell you that it's a military base.
You're getting a tattoo.
But then it'll also tell you it has all kinds of reviews, like 400 and something reviews. And
Yeah.
they're the funniest. If you want to laugh, read those.
So the problem is people took it serious.
Some of them
That
did.
was the really sad
Some
part.
of them,
Was
yeah.
like,
yeah. But a good portion of them
Oh.
are tongue-in-cheek. It is
Yeah,
really
very
funny.
much so.
That's 3-month vacation.
And then
You're gonna get a tattoo right here.
the next one's
It's either gonna be the Eagle Globe and Anchor, or Chesty, and it's just gonna say
Chesty puller.
Hardcore Marine Mom.
no. But then the other funny one is if you look on Google Maps and you type in receiving station. Receiving station. If you type in receiving station at Paris Island, you'll be able to to zoom in. You'll be able to see the little yellow footprints. But then if you look at the description, it says prison, which I think is hilarious.
Well, so the funny thing.
And there's a review on that one too.
And the funny thing, for anyone that's been in the military,
Minus the Air Force.
good God, man,
I'm
I'm really glad I didn't go in the Coast Guard.
I know, right?
I'll give you a little bit more
Probably
respect,
make
man.
me wear a gag ball around here or something. So for anyone that's been in any branch of the armed forces,
Right.
The Kool-Aid swilling death cult that is the Marine Corps, or the professional fighting force
There you go.
that is the
Air
United States Air Force, Or the Boy Scouts with artillery. That's the
Army.
Boredom?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
not meant to be that.
I know what it's like to not sleep for 12 hours in a pickup truck with the heater on, in the rain, in the dark. I've been there, Jason. I've done it. But anyway. So, like your prison tie-in, it's so funny because you reach a certain point where it's not like, oh, how long have you been in? How long do you have left? You know, I think it's like the last, well, for some of us, it's like, well, you know, 934 days. So they're and on deployments too. I think it's that way on deployments when you're overseas.
Oh my gosh. I can see Robin with the tattoo of crossed M16s with the saying Marine Mama around it.
Yes.
So Robin, when I went in the military, my mom promptly had her midlife crisis.
Uh-huh.
Oh crap, she's watching. She's cooking dinner. Sorry, Francis. Hi. So I go in the Marine Corps. I didn't go. Oh! I went in the Air Force.
You're missing a part of anatomy.
Be gone! Be gone! I went in the Air Force.
Uh-huh.
And to be fair, the walls have been hosed down with Marine Corps around here the last month.
Right, yeah.
So I joined the Air Force as an only child.
Uh-huh.
And my mom's reaction to that, being the mother of the only child joining the Air Force, was she started getting tattoos. Like, I came out of the military, and the woman had like 3 or 4, and I had 0.
Wow.
So it was one of those things where it's like, I went in the military, she started getting tattoos.
She got the tattoos. Did she get anything with...
No, it's like a rose with a ladybug on the petal.
Oh.
A cute little
She had
mouse.
one that said, I had a son, but he joined the Air Force. And I have a lovely daughter now.
My sister's dead, so there's that.
Oh! Wow, you gonna pull that card.
That's me!
It's 34 years ago.
It's true, but still.
So, yeah.
Someone hand Paul a box of crayons.
Just color with them. He
would need them. Oh! We didn't tell you the best part. So we get to Monday morning. We get up to the swearing. Don't look at me like that. We get into the swearing. We're standing outside waiting. They finally usher us in. We go into the family room. We sit down. There's nothing really there except for a TV and a bunch of chairs and a big box of crayons. And I was like, Jason, they knew you were coming.
You know that joke in about 12 weeks is also going to be about your son.
Not really. He scored a 110. So, to that end, right? You get back from the whole being at Metro Place thing. You were telling a story about the kid that he was either too stupid or too nervous to know his right from his left.
Uh-huh.
So you can see on closed circuit TV, they're practicing the swearing in, and the guy tells them to raise their right hand, and he's like,
look at it.
No, he did his left.
you know, it's just like he's infantry.
The funniest thing about him swearing in, now anybody that's been in any branch of the armed forces know that when you get a safety briefing or any type of briefing, it's because
I intentionally left this out of the video because I wanted to do this live.
It's because more than one person has done it. Because the first person they could be kind of like, that's not going to happen again.
The first one's a happening, the second one's a habit.
Right.
So there's this Coast Guard lieutenant. He's the one who...
that's a captain. They have 2 bars for people in the regular military.
The regular military.
Oh, go on.
Anyway.
He wasn't very impressive looking at all.
He did the swearing in, and then afterwards, and he said, okay, families, you have 2 minutes to say your goodbyes, and then you'll have to leave, and you have to go outside the building. You're welcome to stay around and watch them get on the bus. But please, there's no last minute hugs, no last minute kisses, no
Don't
last
call
minute.
his name.
I love yous. Don't call his name or anything. Just please let them get on the bus. Then his shoulders dropped and his head dropped, and he said, and please do not stand in front of the bus because you will be physically removed. I was sitting there and I just looked at Robin and I went, that means somebody's done it.
That's exactly what he
More
said.
than once.
More than once. he's like, he looked at everybody and he's like, just let them go.
Well, that's why it's like, so.
See, back in my day when I joined, it was easy. The recruiter came up, he to the house, he picked me up, I got in his car, boom, and we left. And that was the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was like mail order military experience because we lived
You had to go so far, yeah.
Right, we lived far enough away that we got flown down. I got
Right.
flown down to MEPS. I got flown down for MEPS the second time when I left. So Katie, my wife, she dumped me like 6 months later, so she wasn't my wife yet.
Wasn't it like 2 days before Valentine's Day?
2 days before.
Is that what you were
Valentine's
telling me?
It's
I mean, that's just harsh.
We just had the anniversary we don't talk about. But anyways, so.
I mean, that's just like.
All right. So when I left for the Air Force, it was from the local regional airport, right?
Right.
So it was like a clean break. It was none of this like mom and dad going down,
Right,
you know.
right.
So it was like FedExing your kid off to like the military. you dropped him off and it was air freight to San Antonio, and it was just it was weird. But we got married in the end. So
I came to my senses.
She did.
After 7 years.
Yeah.
I still think the funniest part was why she broke up with you wasn't even like.
Yeah, we had a revelation today. So we're telling this story to Jason and Robin about why she dumped me. Because, okay, so let me take a step back. So it's actually been really exciting. It's been an absolute blessing to be a part of their family while Blaze has gone through this. Because for more than one reason, it's dredged up a lot of happy memories, and it's caused me to remember things that I haven't thought about in 20 years.
Yeah.
But also, based on Jason's experience and my experience, a lot of the advice that we gave to Blaze before he went in, it was parallel. Yeah, I was not a Marine. I was in the Air Force, but there's just some things that, you know, like not buying a car and setting up allotments. It doesn't matter what branch you're in. That's the best advice you
and
can.
not get married.
Right, and if you can go in single, that's good too.
Right.
But so I think, you know, we were talking earlier about like why did God have us break down and then break down again, and then maybe again, and take 3 weeks to
fix it,
you know, all this
again.
stuff. So
Right.
so I really feel like we were here for a season in part because Blaze needed to hear a lot of advice that had it just come from his dad, it would just be like, okay, Dad, whatever, you know.
Right.
But when this guy that Blaze doesn't know
Right.
comes along and is saying the exact same stuff as Dad, but wasn't a Marine like Dad.
Right.
So my hope is that the conversations that you and I had together with Blaze, that I had with Blaze alone, carried enough weight that everything Jason was trying to tell him kind of sunk in, because when Dad tells you, it's different than when someone that's
Someone
not
else.
Dad.
Yeah.
Well, it was
tells
even
you.
nicer when you had Pat and Sydney also.
Right.
Like you had all
they said
different
the same thing,
branches.
right? And then come to find out that Blaze, he basically broke down and told me. He said his recruiter said the exact same stuff.
Same thing.
Right, so he got it, what,
Five or
6
six
times?
times,
Right.
yeah.
So in the course of dredging up all of these fun memories, we, despite being married for 10 years, no, not despite, in spite.
Whatever.
One of the joys of having this conversation after being married for 10 years is, so she confided to me that the reason she broke up with me,
What, like the overarching
Right.
angst
Right.
I had.
Right.
was she was afraid that I was going to come home from leave
Uh-huh.
and propose to her when she was in college.
Right. And she wasn't ready for that.
She wasn't ready for it.
Right.
And so I told her today, like, when I found that out, I'm like, God, proposing to you was the last thing on my mind. Like, I had no desire to ask you to be my wife while I was in the military.
But we had dated for two and a half
years. So
Right.
it was a reasonable.
Right. So the big takeaway, kids, is communicate.
Communicate.
So you don't make dumbass choices that cost you 7 years of being
7
apart.
years, yeah.
And then you start making a family at 28 instead of 19 or 20.
Because all we would have had to
22.
say is, hey, let's take a break and just be friends for the time you're in the military and I'm in college, and let's get back to each other at the end of it. Like, let's live our lives. And
Would that have worked for you? Because your face kind of was like friends.
No, it would have
I
been.
mean, because that's all y'all were anyway, right?
Right, yeah. Right. Yes, we currently have 3 friendship trophies. A venerable stable of friendship trophies.
Stable.
So, but yeah, so no, and I realized after she broke up with me in like one bad relationship after her, it's like, you know, being single for the next 3 years in the military is not a bad thing.
Right.
It allowed me to go to Greenland, and it allowed me to just be a heartless, stone cold, almost NCO, and so yeah.
That's another thing. So Dee sent him socks that are really nice wicking socks, and she sent him a letter reminding him to take care of his feet, because that's gonna be part of his strong foundation, is making sure that he takes care of his feet.
It's the difference between a dead Marine and a live Marine.
And Dee, he's heard that a million times, but coming from somebody that he doesn't spend a whole lot of time interacting with, just makes it's the same kind of thing. It makes it stick more, because it's not just coming from the same person over and over again. So yeah. Yeah, he had a sweet little moment with her that night. Like, he got his socks, and I was driving, so...
Oh, there we go. Mimsy took care of it.
Yeah.
Man, Mimsy's on there like...
She is on top of it. Yeah. So... Yeah. So... Anyway.
So we have to know that, God will repair our... And almost NCO. I was Dragon's Talon 101. I was a senior airman. I had a line number for staff. We were really short-handed because of the war in Iraq, and I was doing the job of like an E5 and an E6. Mainly doing parts of circumstances. And I was in security forces, so they didn't set that bar for success real high. So there was that too. It was basically like the Marines of the Air Force. And you're welcome. So
I love how they go back and forth. It's funny. Anyway, so we had...
I'm just going to say that if the security forces in the Air Force is represented by that
touch a
recruiter,
nerve much?
that recruiter that we got to witness.
That's not even
that guy
fair.
was a piece of...
Yeah. We know that. Yeah, well, we didn't tell you.
We need a sensor bar that we can hold up.
So we didn't tell you that Sunday.
We need that tea.
Right?
That Sunday when we went up for the family briefing, the Marine guys were telling us that he doesn't even...
He barely even comes into the office.
He doesn't care. He said they sit outside their door, or they sit just inside their door waiting for them to come back out. It's like picking them out. Like, come here.
Yeah, well, so that, Sydney, are you still on?
Because he made a comment earlier, said he wished he had been Blaze's recruiter.
Well, and so in preparation for easing Robin into... what is that? Maternal Phi, being a Marine mom. We Jason, found some videos on YouTube showing what Marine Corps basic training was like. Well, in the YouTube logarithm, this is how you know it's flawed, pulled up, like, suggested that we watch an Air Force basic training video. So we did. I went in 20 years ago, August 20-something.
23rd.
Thank you. Of the year 2000. That's... I gotta be here. I'm gonna start swearing. That stuff has gotten so soft. The basic training video we watched, after 5 minutes, I had Jason turn it off. It was so embarrassing.
But I mean, they got in their little group.
It was summer camp with that crappy tiger stripe camo. It was awful.
And we're talking about their feelings.
It was awful. Like, I was embarrassed. And I know Sydney and I went in at the same time. Sydney and I, we were actually found out we were at an overseas assignment together. But things have gotten bad when two guys that went through the 6-week basic training in Air Force are like, what is this crap? This is just, And,
this is not the way.
It was embarrassing is what it was.
I'm not looking forward to graduation because Jason's mom said that she wasn't excited about Jason's dad coming to this graduation because at Jason's graduation, he was like, this stuff has gotten so much easier. There's no telling how much easier it's gotten since.
Well, when was Jay in the Marine Corps? Like, was he in Vietnam?
He was at the tail end. He went in 70. Let's say I was born in 75, so he went in 75, 76 sometime.
So way after, yeah.
So you figure like he went in when they weren't even trying to hide the fact that they were beating people. You know, like it was.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it was rough.
He didn't get jungle camis. He got the Vietnam solid green.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, the utility.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was kind of shameful to see.
Oh,
the Air
wow.
Forces be
Dragon's Talon was 95. He went in 5 years.
What was your job, Dragon's Talon?
Oh, he told us last time.
Well,
I can't remember.
I think I was drinking wine last time.
Yes. I mean, you won't remember next week either then. I have a cousin that came out of basic for the Army, and he said it was easier than junior high football. I used to hate showing that BMT video when I was a recruiter.
So, Jeremiah called last night, and we, because I basically reached out to him because we had to give him some bad news. And the bad news for all y'all is Robin and I will be unable to make the shindig this year. And we're really kind of stressing about what conferences and stuff we'll be able to go to because of trying to find somebody to
Watch the farm.
And when you have a cow
Yeah, we
in
could
milk
have possibly 2 cows in milk.
that need to be milked twice a day, the
It's
list
hard to find
list
somebody.
even gets shorter.
Yeah, it's really hard to find
So
someone.
we're not going to be able to make the shindig.
Yeah,
And
computer specialist.
and so Jeremiah and I were talking about Bubba, about him leaving, and it got us talking and bringing up a lot of memories and talking about drill instructors and how one of his DIs, it was his first cycle, and Jeremiah said, I remember he hadn't got his drill instructor voice yet from screaming all the time, and his voice would crack and get and go up real high, and it made me think about the video that we were watching with the kid that kept dropping the piece of paper. It doesn't weigh on a time! It's a piece of paper! And drill instructor's voice cracking and getting super high.
Well, and that was so. I gotta be careful. So, for those of you that have been in the military and have gone through basic training or boot camp, you understand that what's presented in the brochure is not what the management provides in terms of experience. So, you know, they're like, oh yes, it's the year 2000. We will no longer swear at our recruits, our trainees. We were trainees, not recruits.
Right.
So, my experience, like my initial experience, now mind you, I watched Full Metal Jacket on more than one occasion, so I knew what could have been, but was not going to be. So I show up to Lackland Air Force Base, and this guy, like, imagine if, like...
When were you at Lackland?
2000.
Yeah, I was long gone.
So, this guy weighed, like, maybe $110. We're talking, like, Blaze in a campaign hat, right? It's like, right, pick up your bags. We pick them up. Drop them, pick them up. What the freak? And I remember, like... what
was that?
That's not me cleaning up his language. That was the language he was using.
Yeah.
And that's when you know, maybe I joined the Club Med of the military.
There
It's like,
you go.
oh, we don't use those words. We use freak instead.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, he was trying to act so hard. But like I think I poop bigger than this guy weighs.
That's
you know?
so funny.
And he's using freaking trying to be tough and not swearing. It was so disappointing from top to bottom. We only got to shoot guns one day, and I had to fold socks and underwear. And now, women at the laundromat while we're traveling look at me like I'm good husband material because I can fold clothes real well. And it's awkward.
Funny. That is hilarious. You can get cool jobs in the Air Force with an ASVAB score of about 55. My son has been in the
Oh, that's how we're going to play that, huh? There's a difference between having a high score and choosing low versus having a low score and not choosing.
Yeah.
So.
My son has been in the military for over 10 years. He described basic like a cross between football training and hell.
Of little
Can't even use a red pen now. It insinuates being wrong. That's crazy.
What? I'm not hiding over here. I'm just
in the corner. It's the way we're fitting in. Oh, that's funny.
So.
There was something else I was going to talk about with basic. I feel, or not basic. The thing. I feel like I can't remember. Oh well. Anyway, so we got
Blaze's
platoon number. So
we just got it a couple of hours ago.
So if you guys want to contact Blaze, just send us an email and we will give you the information. At this time, they're asking that you only send just white envelopes, no stickers or drawings or anything on the outside of the envelope.
No crayons.
No crayons. Just white envelopes. And if you want them to write back, it's also helpful to send a self-addressed stamped or self-stamped and addressed envelope for him to send it back to you, because they don't really like we're gonna have to send him stamps and stuff.
He can buy stamps.
I mean, he could, but it would be a lot easier if he just has them. So, just saying.
Milking me dry some more.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it's a stamp.
Red pens mean stop. Look at this. You're wrong.
So, but just make sure you address the envelope.
No. Recruit. He is not Master Sergeant.
Abbreviated.
CPL.
No. Captain CPT.
Or COL.
No.
Girl.
No.
Sydney asked what time the party is next Saturday.
I don't know.
We're not sure, but we'll let you know. We're their social events coordinators now.
It doesn't even matter. You're going to show up when you show up.
So. You're gonna let me know if you really want cheese or if I'm not supposed to make you cheese. So, of Little and Light, we are not going to the shindig. We are already delayed. We're supposed to be west by now.
Oh my God.
You should absolutely send him a pinup poster of you.
No.
Who is that?
So Gma's Garden says, gee, sounds like you're getting mail in prison, all the do nots. Well, no, that's not what this is. So the whole idea of getting mail in boot camp is for support, like for people to give support to their recruits, to kind of cheer them on. The problem is if your note, and you guys can back me up on this, if your envelope stands out or calls attention to you, that is a bad thing. When you're in boot camp, you don't want to have attention called to you.
So more than likely, Blaze is his drill instructors are probably staff sergeants.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really want to help Blaze out,
no,
in the corner,
don't.
You don't even know what I'm going to say.
I don't care.
You have that smile on your face though, so we can.
You address it. You know, recruit Fleeman, 2nd Battalion, Hotel Company. Platoon, Paris
whatever.
Island, blah, 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 blah. But in the corner, just put Pricky 6.
No.
That's
Why?
a radio, Robin. That's a radio they use in the infantry.
I don't care. Yeah, so Lauren, party is kind of a loose term. We were on Sydney's live stream and we told him that we had a couple birthdays this week coming, but they're towards the beginning of the week. But he's coming. He's in Texas right now, so he's gonna come visit next Saturday, and so he's dubbed it our party. So, I will wear makeup and a kilt to send a Blaze. No, Sydney, that is so bad.
You know, Sydney, that would.
You know what you need to do, Sydney? Is you need to go to the Army-Navy store and find you a dress blue blouse and just wear it with just like the top button.
No red lipstick, kisses all over the envelope. No scents, like no perfume.
Brownies.
Nothing. You want to get Blaze into trouble? Yes, that's exactly what they want. No scented or lipstick. Yeah, exactly. Jason, you may...
Well, she gave birth to him, but let's be fair. The drill instructors make them into Marines.
That's true. That's true. You may be a Marine, but Robin gave birth to one. She rules. No, because I'll tell you, Blaze wouldn't be where he is without Jason. So,
and I'm just trying to help him. See, one of my major concerns is Blaze don't weigh but like $105, and that's what rolls the quarters in his pocket.
He's 120.
Barely.
It's a rounding error where we're from.
Well, okay, so we said he was 120, but he's probably back to 105 by now.
The moment he pooped, he went right back down to like 110.
It's like one of those starving African children.
Yeah. And so I'm just trying to help him gain muscle mass.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the best way to do that...
Send him to the pit.
Push.
You really need to read some of those reviews because one of the reviews on there was like, excellent workout routines, free clothes, and
Yeah.
food. And then it said, and the pit's open 24 hours a day. I was dying.
So we're dancing around the issue though, right? There's a party this week. How old are you going to be? 46?
45.
You know, once you hit the 5, you round up. So 46 was the right answer too.
Your mama.
You want to know what's really bad? Having the same last name as the Air Force Chief of Staff as when you were going through boot camp. Oh, man.
Well, it was like they're at MEPS.
I don't remember the Air Force Chief of Staff Dragon.
No. What were you going to say?
Some of the names
Mm-hmm.
that they were calling out over the intercom
Oh.
there, and I was like, you know, Marine, what do they say? Marine, how do they
Recruit.
say it? No, they didn't call them recruits. They were
Shipper.
Marine
They call them
shipper.
shippers.
Shipper, da-da-da-da-da. But one of them was like, Hoffa. And I'm
Yes.
like, oh, you're done. You are done. I said, I would have requested my parents to let me go get somebody's maiden name or something. Do not send me to boot camp with that name.
So your last name's Rear.
Did you
How
get a
did they
lot?
make fun of you?
They, believe it or not, they really didn't. And I think the reason why is because I had some very immature kids in my platoon.
So other people took the heat.
So
Yeah.
they took the heat. And I kind of just cruised right on through.
So no one showed you extra love.
Right, because
Oh, my
you
daddy
kinda-
showed me all kinds of extra love.
Cheryl, my birthday's on Monday, but I'm not 40. Well,
And our 3-year-old's gonna be 4 tomorrow.
yeah, so we have
Tomorrow.
a birthday on
Yeah.
First, second, and
Saturday,
third.
Sunday, Monday, first,
Yeah.
second, third. We may have touched on that last week, but
Yeah.
there was one. So my last name is Shoemaker. Hers was Yates at the time. She didn't want mine. That's why she broke up with me. So mine was magically shortened.
Yeah, you
Like
became
to Shoe.
Yeah.
Like I would show up at a new base, and the first person they met would be like, "Hey, Shoe," and I'm like, "Did they email ahead to tell you I was coming and what you should call me?" Or it's like a compound word just too much
It's
for
too
you
much.
people. So it was from Shoemaker to Shoe. I was Shoe everywhere I went.
Mm-hmm.
But I was a quality shoe because I never wore out.
Oh, gotcha.
Lame.
I'm going to show the world
Hey,
what you are
hey,
on my phone.
Hey,
I'm gonna
look.
talk about
look.
lame. Grasping for straws.
Well, the funny thing is the first time y'all left, or second time, when was it? Second time? First time? It said Merry Christmas, Rears, and it was REAR.
Yeah, by the way, my dad flipped with that when he came down.
When
Because you guys had written Merry Christmas, Rears on there.
Yeah. He was like,
Do they not know how to spell your last name?
who's the idiot don't know how to spell?
the guy that'll be living in our front yard. Well,
Oh, so he was Mitz, because he's Mitzelfelt. What do you mean, you people? I don't know. I don't know. Happy birthday in advance. My maiden name is Ruffini, and I was called Rufio growing up.
oh, that's so
Like
funny.
from
So
Hook.
yeah, so there was a Filipino guy in my basic training flight. He was right next to me. He looked just like Rufio, and I swear these drill instructors take a course in like how to manipulate people's names and the proper way to haze. Because we showed up and immediately the drill instructors are like Rufio, like out of the Hook
gosh.
movie. Oh, it was hilarious.
That is funny. It's around his neck and wait, what?
What?
Jason, you think you cruised through? I had a guy in my squadron that tried to hang himself in the latrine by taking the belt from around his waist, putting it around his neck, and held the other end in his hand, and was threatening to hang himself by jumping off of the sink counter.
That
Wow.
sounds like the Air Force thing to do.
That's crazy.
But okay, so when we were here in October,
Shoo rhymes with pew pew pew.
But you never got to shoot.
I didn't. So when we showed up here in December, before
the
first time, yes, before we knew that we would be the vagrants, the sexy garden gnomes, living in the front yard, right? I asked Jason. I'm like, Jason, how do you spell your last name? And he goes, or how do you pronounce your last name? And he goes, Rear.
Like what you sit on.
Like what you sit on.
Right.
So this is how Jason is in my phone.
Jason Big Bear Buttocks.
It is what it is, people. When a pitch is sent straight over home plate, one must simply
As a softball.
knock it out of the park.
Underhand throw.
Consequently, that's what I did. So, don't hate. Don't hate.
December 2018.
He's thinking about
Choking
Oh,
me, I can see it.
that's funny.
What was
Hey,
December
Anita.
2018?
So, do you want to go
He's
to Home
saying,
Depot
did you
again?
come and do
No!
He's saying, did you come in 2018 of
He
December?
has a problem with numbers. So,
Oh, 2019. I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you said
I
2019.
thought
You
I
said
did, too.
18? I don't know.
19.
19.
My life was incomplete till we showed up here, so I guess I wished it were 2018.
that's the funny thing. We didn't know who they were in 2018.
Yeah.
To be fair, we didn't know who they were until like October
2019.
2019.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Until
There's
September.
one of
October.
I was gonna say that's one of the cool things about HOA is you have the opportunity to meet people you might not otherwise,
Right.
cross paths with.
We were actually talking about that. Was it this morning or last night? I was talking about how HOA. I didn't really go to a lot of the speakers,
Mm-hmm.
but what I loved was hanging out with like-minded people
Mm-hmm.
because.
No,
Oh,
talk.
because I'm talking. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no.
Anna said that I needed to talk.
To
not
talk,
hide
yes.
over here. So, anyways, no. So where we live in Oregon, we were the only people doing what we were doing,
Right.
and in a sea of our peers that thought we were absolutely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were at HOA, all of a sudden we're around all these crazy people
Mhm.
doing this thing, and it wasn't crazy anymore. And
Yeah.
so for that, that's what I'm looking forward to going to HOA for this year. That's our only, I think,
Cool.
social engagement we're going to be going, event that we're going to be going to next year.
This next year, yeah.
This year.
And we get to see Justin.
So, no.
Main stage.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that
No,
was
that's fine.
no, it was fine. We were talking about how HOA is a good opportunity for social networking, and maybe another place to go to learn stuff.
And JNC's, we're from near Medford, Oregon.
Yes,
So we're southern Oregon.
Southern Oregon. Consequently, we have a nice 5-acre homestead we're going to be looking to sell in the next 3 to 4 months. So
It's fully fenced.
fully fenced.
Fully fenced.
The soil's crap, but we won't talk about that.
Raised
Well,
beds.
no, it can
Just
get
saying.
it can get amended. We actually started figuring out how to amend the really bad clay soil towards the end.
Yeah, and
So
the clay soil is so bad. We found the best way to amend it was to pack up our family, rent the house out, and move somewhere else.
That's a great amendment.
no, we're talking about the chicken coop.
Yeah.
Okay, so Songbird Homestead. Hello, new
Arkansas
Homestead.
Homestead here. How's calf cow and the baby cow? Baby bull calf doing? Pretty good.
Making milk and putting on weight.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The calf we think has or had or whatever a hiatal hernia, which is very common. The more people I talk to, I find that it's pretty common in little bull calves. It's right around the area where his belly button / where his PP would come out of.
It's called a penis, Robin. It's called
his
a penis.
PP would come out of. Speaking of, we saw that today. That was
We did.
lovely. I didn't want to see
Oh my
that.
gosh, the lipstick on that little steer is so big.
But anyway, so he it was a little swollen, but it seems to be going down. The hiatal hernia, guys, really?
He snickered first.
The hiatal hernia.
I told you it's a black cow.
It seems to have come down some. So we're not really concerned about it, but we're still keeping an eye on it just to make sure that it doesn't get infected or there's any kind of issues with it. Mom's doing great. He obviously seems to favor one side. It seems like.
He doesn't like that one quarter.
Yeah.
It's like the back. Is it the back left?
Left, I think. Yeah.
It's a titillating thought, but I hadn't noticed.
Yeah.
But it's funny because her back, quasi teeth.
Yeah, the ones on the very back
are kind of like conical. Like there's a little bit of milk in them.
Yeah.
And it's funny. So.
Yeah.
Children. So okay, of little and light. Let's like I think what every woman that's about to get married for the first
You
time
men are like children.
needs to understand.
Bless your heart.
Inside every grown man,
There's
like a fourth grader dying to get out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, we had a 45-minute conversation today about poop.
Including the first part of this live stream.
I know, right?
You guys got to tell me when we're live. Like, I need a red light or something.
She's like, hello.
I just said.
But was that like hello to the viewers or hello, Paul, we're on?
Hello,
you
Paul,
know?
get it together. Mind your language.
So we walked out to we got a phone call today.
Mm-hmm.
Well, funny story.
I gotta answer Dee's question.
Oh, go ahead.
As of right now, we are still planning to go to the Bayou Bash. My parents are going to be able to cover here, but the girls won't be going with us.
Unfortunately.
And so as of right now, as long as nothing happens that way, we're still going to be coming to the Bayou Bash.
Yeah. So we got a phone call today. We were trying to teach Jason's mom how to use Facebook. She decided to come into the 21st century with everybody. And it's funny how when your grandchild is, there's a possibility you might be able to see a picture of him on Facebook. All of a sudden that brings you into the new world there. But so we were doing that. And we get a phone call from the neighbor, and she said, "Hey, I was out back cleaning out they pulled down their pool. And so she was putting in a fire pit, and she said, I happened to look out there and saw a black and white cow." So Ladessa and I took off, went down, and sure enough, it was Delma, and we pushed her back. But on the way back through, Katie was coming to check fence lines, and you ran into some piglets.
They're like little tiny piglets.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking
Like babies.
And they were upwind from me, so they couldn't smell me. Like the wind was coming in my face. And so I tried sneaking back out of there because little babies means big mama somewhere.
Mama. Mm-hmm.
And they instantly ran towards me because I was in the brush. And so I scared them back by saying, "Hey," really loud, because the trees here have no branches low down.
No,
so there's no way you can climb a tree here in the south.
No.
And I'm looking around. I'm like, where am I going to climb a tree if this mama pig comes after me? So the only thing I can do is like scare the piglets away from me, so they're not like between me and the mama.
Right.
So yeah, it was scary. So yeah.
So then we proceeded to walk.
Because I didn't have a cell phone.
Well, right.
Again.
So Katie comes back, and Jason and I were here in the studio.
Whatever.
The magic room, and Katie's like, "Oh, there's."
No. I said, "Do you hunt wild hogs here? Like, is that a thing?"
Yeah.
Because I just saw some.
So in what, like a good solid 8 minutes, we arm up and putting guns together, quite literally out of the box, putting guns together. We load them up, and their back 20 turns into the rice paddies of Vietnam, circa 1965. And we're looking for these little VC pidlets, and and we didn't get any.
Well, because I scared them, because I was afraid for my life because they have tusks and.
So Dragon's Talon. So you bring up a good point. We are in the South, and we should be carrying a gun.
You're right. And as soon as I was out there, I'm like, I don't have a cell phone or a gun, and I know I'm gonna find something.
Yeah.
But we're from Oregon, and Oregon now has reasonable gun laws, but in the next 6 to 9 months will be a little better than California. So, and traveling around the United States, one of the paradoxes is how do you travel without being a temporary felon from place to place. So we had to make some strategic decisions about what to bring and what to leave at home. So for instance, the SBR Scorpion little submachine gun that's left at home. We couldn't travel through, New Jersey with that. But what's awesome is when you travel to the United States, provided the state you're in does not have more restrictive gun laws than where you're from, you can buy long guns. So I actually picked up a 410 at the Walmart, and
Which is a shotgun.
A shotgun, yeah, a 410 bore Cheryl for you people over there, and a 12 gauge and stuff. So, but today I found myself longing for my AR-15. Like I kind of felt naked without it. Well, yes, basically.
Pew, pew,
Yeah.
pew,
Pew 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 pew. Yeah, I was gonna make it stink in here. Pew 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 pew. So it's one of those things.
Yeah, I don't think the girls knew what to do. Like they saw all of us with guns, and they're like, what's going on here?
So it was. We look forward to a day where we will be settled down and free to exercise all of our constitutional rights.
So it is an open carry state here. So, and it's crazy because South Carolina's not.
Lauren, that's kind of not funny. Okay.
That's kind of actually
It's
hilarious.
been a month and a week. Okay, we're gonna split hairs.
So, yeah, and a little like we
But
left,
correct me if I'm wrong, and Lauren, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but isn't your vehicle basically an extension of your home? Your how do they word it?
Domicile. Yep.
There's
that you
there's
can
a
carry-
name
It's the
for it.
RV. The RV is part of the domicile. I'm not sure if
Your car is, because I'm trying to remember what it's called. There's a name for it. What is that called?
Because Virginia's kind of
She's gonna tell us in just
Virginia's
a second.
kind of a little helter skelter about it. If you live in the state of Virginia, you can have the firearm in your car, but you got to have like the ammo in the trunk and the firearm in the glove box. But if you're just passing through, you're good to go.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different answers to those questions.
Mm-hmm.
So when we hit the road, we chose to err on the side of caution.
Yeah, because you got 3 kids in it.
Right, and so we
Home
chose.
vehicle and a place of business.
So we chose to defend ourselves in a way that was as 50 state legal as possible. So
Which we only brought one with us.
we carry a honey badger and make it mad. We poke it. No, but so Sydney,
Crikey!
honey, I hear something at the door. Release the honey badger, but poke it first. So Sydney asked, I'm sorry, the Naked Gardener asked, what are 5 things we're looking for in the perfect land? That's a good question. As much as we can afford for the money that we have.
We're looking for 20 acres or more.
20 acres, yeah. We want to live somewhere that's socially conservative. And when I say socially conservative, there's more to that than just like the abortion debate. There's homeschool laws.
Homeschool laws, homesteading laws, kind of.
All of the stuff that factors in. I mean, there's even the tax structure from state to state. It's Oregon is pretty draconian, but not as draconian as other places. So even down to the type of soil on the land. That was we were talking about lessons learned on our road trip to Forest City yesterday. And one of the big things, we bought 5 acres of terribly worthless land.
It's clay soil, but it's the expansive clay, so it actually cracks. Like, as far as it is down on top of the bedrock, it will crack. So it could be 5 feet deep and like 4 inches wide, and you drop your wallet down there and it's done. Like, you're not getting it back unless you're getting a shovel and digging it out.
That's crazy.
And then in the wintertime, it just...
Yeah.
And then you walk and it gets like, you're 6 inches taller.
So the clay soil where we live is so dynamic. And I know people down here in Georgia and North Carolina and South Carolina talk about like the red clay and stuff. But our clay, it almost behaves the way the ground does up north. It's so volatile and expansive that it will spit fence posts out of the ground.
Wow.
There is no fence over like 5 to 10 years old that's not laying over
That's
every which way.
Yeah.
So
in fact, I had a ram that would climb the fence because the fence posts were leaning over like this, and so he just was climbing the fence and pushing it over and jumping over back into the use. So Arkansas is kind of off the table because of tornadoes. Apparently they have tornadoes in Georgia, which we found out.
Yeah.
But not nearly as frequent.
But not as frequent as Arkansas.
Right.
And so I don't know if like I was really when we went through Missouri, I really liked it, but then I had to remind myself like we're in Tornado Alley right here, and I don't know if I can do that. We also want topography.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was one of those things. Like don't get me wrong. I know we have a lot of fun with Jason and Robin, and a lot of that fun's at Jason's expense or my expense, but like they have been a very safe and calm shelter in what could otherwise be a very expensive and stormy season of our life while we work out the trailer issue. So so like if we say that we don't want to live in Georgia, it's not
because of us, right?
It's not because of Jason and Robin. No, like Jason and Robin have been like just wonderfully gracious and a blessing to our family. But
it's flat here.
It is.
It
and
is. It's
so
very flat.
We
but
hit
like much further north of us, like Helen.
Yeah, Tennessee. What?
No, even in Georgia. They're still up in Dillard. Yeah. It's beautiful up there.
Right. And well, when we hit Forest City the other day, it was like mountains. And so Katie and I grew up in a town where the ocean was to the west and the mountains were to the east. We own a home now, I guess, in a valley. So there's mountains all around us. Mm-hmm. So you almost feel lost without the topography. It's just like DC. I went to DC on business a few years back, and I was on the 10th story of a skyscraper, and it just felt oppressive how flat it was, and it just seemed to have gone on forever.
So Songbird, I disagree a little bit. It says around the mountains of Arkansas, tornadoes are not an issue. North and central are good. I was in northwest Arkansas, up around Fayetteville, and one of the worst tornadoes that I've ever heard of, seen, happened around a mountain. And the problem is that right in the mountains, right by Fort Smith into Fayetteville, the tornado would get just enough energy to go up the side of the mountain and then rock back down and hit the city again. And then it would rock back up, and then it would rock back down, and it obliterated Fort Smith. And then there were some that made it up over the mountain and then gained, speed and would rock up and down. So there are some pretty nasty ones, but it's just, it is what it is. So
well, and it's one of those things too. Like we're originally from California. I grew up, and Katie to a lesser extent grew up because she moved there when she was a little older. We lived within 30 miles of one of the most seismically active spots in the world. Mm-hmm. So earthquakes were a way of life.
Yeah.
I could say the word earthquake, and people on here would, oh no, like they would respond to that the way we respond to tornadoes.
Tornadoes, right.
Well, the fact of the matter is, no matter where you decide to live, there's always going to be a something that you have to come to terms with. Whether
humidity.
Whether it's
we had an earthquake come through here a couple years back, and then we've been having a lot of seismic activity about every 3 to 4 days.
It's a government.
No, it's about
every time you go to the
bathroom.
Oh! I knew he was setting that up. I couldn't believe you didn't know that was coming.
Try my taco cheese and rice. Just try it. It's great. Whatever. Taco cheese and rice. So, but that's one of those things where there's nowhere perfect. And Sydney used that language in this question. There's nowhere perfect. So it's really finding a place that checks enough of the boxes. And, if I have to live indoors for 9 months out of the year because it's humid, well then, by golly, I'll just do that.
You'll get used to it.
But no, I disagree.
Will.
My crotch disagrees.
No, what you'll do is get used to it's not the right word. You'll adapt.
Learn to tolerate it.
Right.
Buy lots of talcum powder. Yeah. But there was a tornado that went down like Main Street of Spartanburg, South Carolina last month. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't think the Chamber of Commerce is putting that on the brochure. You know, because it's just so infrequent.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it doesn't happen very often around here. I think probably in the 6 years we've been here, I think we may hear of a tornado once a year. And when I say hear of, I mean like in Anderson or out somewhere. This is the first year that we've actually had it come close. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's... It's not... I'll take those odds. Hadn't heard that, but we just moved here. We're in northern Arkansas, and there hasn't been one in our area hit. We're originally from Florida, so it's no big for us. Yeah, right. I mean, you're used to hurricanes and stuff, so it's the wind minus the water. So
well, you know, and Cheryl, that homestead in the Highlands, move to where it feels like home.
Yeah, that's on our list.
I would be your neighbor, but you know. You have some of the best toilet water in the world.
You'll never wouldn't be able to handle it.
It wouldn't. But, you know, the gun laws in Britain aren't what I need them to be. But,
do you know where you want to be yet?
So that's wherever you are, Sydney. Wherever you are. Unless it's Texas.
Two places that we've been to that are on our list.
List.
Right. Release this, but...
you know, it's vaguely, it's sort of, it's Eastern Ohio and Western North Carolina. And one has more to do with location and the other has more to do with the people. And for us to be completely honest, the number one thing that will determine where we move is going to be a church. Because when we don't have to move to any one particular place. Yes, Cheryl, I would live next to a distillery.
She said
in.
Potato. But I don't drink vodka. And so...
That was funny.
Thank you. And so for us, like, we don't have to move anywhere for employment.
Right.
So that's generally, I think, people's number one factor in moving somewhere is work. But for us, that's not the case. So for us, we, in talking with one another, have determined that the thing that's going to decide where we live is a healthy church that we can finish raising our kids in. Because that is the single greatest thing I think we're leaving in Oregon is the church that we're a part of now. So, and the
community of people that comes with
it. It is. Like, when I say, the church, it's the body of believers, not a building that meets.
Chinda's better.
And, well... It depends on the mood. And yes, and so it's one of those things. And we found really great churches in Western North Carolina, and we found really great churches in the Eastern Ohio area. And so then we have to kind of move down a little further down our
list. The checklist,
right? And start seeing what meets the criteria. We also want to do missionary care. That's another thing that I don't know, maybe we're not like that forward about on our channel or even here, but we want to do missionary care, and what that looks like is basically running like an Airbnb or a bed and breakfast for missionaries out of our home to offer them like a safe and comfortable place to relax while they're on furlough and rest. And I serve on the board of directors for an organization that does that. So that's really kind of the big underlying current of this trip is to find a place where we can have what amounts to kind of a farm stay. We want to incorporate the missionary care with the homesteading and sort of grow those two up together.
So we're looking for a property that has either two homes in existence, or if it already has a home site with another like dilapidated trailer that we can take down and build. I don't know. So, or if it's possible to build. And where we were in Oregon, our property, we couldn't build
wasn't big enough.
Home.
Yeah.
So
there are restrictions here. Like, I think you have to have so much before you can build more than one structure on your property. So.
So, Sydney asked, besides soil, what is the one thing that will prevent you from getting your land? If it's in Texas, you and your wife are sweet people, but I have some serious baggage where Texas... No, I'm joking, Sydney. Sort of. What prevents us from getting our land? Probably selling our house. That is the biggest thing. That's the biggest obstacle, if you will. We intentionally hit the road without selling our home because we are terribly impulsive people. And I tell you, after the month-ish we've had here, if we had house buying money in the bank, we'd probably be your neighbors just to get out of your front yard.
Get out of the
right,
front
you know?
yard.
So it's one of those things where the biggest single obstacle for us buying our property, wherever it is that we have a home in Oregon that we need to sell, and it's currently rented out. So there's a whole bunch of stuff associated with renters and selling it. That sort of thing.
We don't know what. I mean, we do trust the people that are in our house,
right?
But people are people, and things break, and so
you don't know what you're walking into.
We may have a situation where we come back and we have to do a bunch of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and so City Girl Country Heart. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to touch your knee. That was strictly heterosexual. So, yeah, the issue of the land. We have 5 acres now, and there is a big difference between 5 useful acres and 5 useless acres. But just completely abstract, owing to the fact that we've never owned 20 acres, though we have spent some nice time on 24. Like it's 24, right?
21.
It
doesn't matter.
Potato.
Yeah.
Over
20.
Mr. Windswept, I need to call you tomorrow. We've had another change in plans.
Okay.
So like, just completely abstract and arbitrary. We think 20 acres would be great, but if rich Uncle Joe dies,
right?
My Uncle Joe's not wealthy, but you know what I'm saying. If gosh, a pile of money fell in our lap and we could buy 100 acres, we probably would, just because they're not making any more land and there's value in it. So the most we could get and reasonably manage and take care of respectfully is probably what we would buy. And that was such a political answer. I'm sorry.
So, Farmer Brad had a thing he's processing chickens on the farm for there's an under 1,000 bird exemption here. So I guess wherever he is, it's the same thing. And that would basically pay for the equipment that you'd need to get started. So that's another thing. You'll have to look at different stuff like that of what.
Right.
Because some states now are being crazy enough, they're outlawing the harvesting of catching rainwater.
Right. That's the way it is in Oregon.
It's limited.
A big thing for us. We want to have a commercial kitchen. Mainly because, like, owing to our channel name, like we're not God's gift to gardening.
Expensive.
What's up?
It's going to be so expensive.
Well, but it depends on where you are.
Where we are,
the criteria for what makes a commercial kitchen varies.
Yep. Right.
So our desire is to have a commercial kitchen that I personally would love to have a meat collective, which is something that we discovered in Oregon.
Yeah.
Where you connect buyers with farmers and then you instruct them on how to slaughter their own meat. You cut out the middleman and the butcher, basically.
There's a big one out there. What's it called out in Oregon? It's
I think it's a Portland
meat
collective.
She's awesome.
I used to follow her.
Yeah, so she actually published it's either a book or an ebook that you can purchase. It's like maybe $30, I think, and it tells you how to set up your own meat collective. So she basically took all of her mistakes and stuff she learned and put it into an ebook. And there's people that are popping up all over the country with these meat collectives, helping people get back to where their food comes from and processing their own.
Right.
But it's also, we like to cook. And there's certain stuff that I make that I would like to sell. And I would need a commercial kitchen for that.
Right.
And so,
yes, she does know how to cook some cakes. Bake some cakes.
Yeah. And so a commercial kitchen would be one of those things that if we built it, it wouldn't be exclusively for our use. We would offer it to other homesteaders, other people that want to do cottage industry stuff, because a lot of places have very reasonable cottage industry food laws, But if the minimum requirement's a commercial kitchen, you have to go find one that you can rent out.
Right.
And we even talked about forming a collective, but then we've,
commercial kitchen.
like, humanity's fundamentally flawed, so I think I'd rather just own it and rent it out than try to collectively own it with other sinful people. Really is what that's about. So, yeah, a commercial kitchen, we want a cold room. We'd love a cold room to butcher and be able to hang our own meat and that sort of thing.
And a cheesecake.
And
cheesecake.
So
Homestead exemption.
we want it all.
After some
Go to HO.
And that's part of the thing is we need to buy land cheap enough where we can afford to put money into it.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry we hijacked your live stream.
So Farmer Brad said he'd love to do chicken jerky, but it doesn't make sense to rent a commercial kitchen since jerky takes such a long time. Trip H said there's a group there wanting to pass a law to make you keep any livestock 100 yards away from any creek or river and stop allowing us to pump from them for farm use.
Right. So that's big on the west. So water law in the west is different than the water laws in the east, and there's a lot of riparian protection laws that are passed under the guise of protecting the environment, but what you're doing is taking away the ability for people to have a free and clear use of their land. And the nice thing about water law is it's so deeply ensconced in the body of recognized law that it's really hard to take people's water rights away.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that how, I guess what I just don't understand why people are, I guess maybe people just aren't thinking outside the box. And in places where it's illegal for you to harvest the rainwater because they're saying it's state property, the moment I lived out there and there was a flood, the state would be paying to fix everything because it would be your property damaged my property.
Yeah.
Well, so one of the ways they get around that in Oregon, the Oregon law doesn't say that it's state property. Mm-hmm. It's basically the commons. It's collectively owned by everyone, so everyone owns it to the point that nobody owns it. So you're not free to do with water what you want.
Everybody's
the surface
right.
water, yeah. So, and that's one of the sad things. Like the Western states have some great models for like food cooperatives and those sort of things. And I don't know how it is back east here, because we've not found those. We've not had the time to really look for that sort of stuff. But food cooperatives are really, really great. They often have the best produce, the best access to healthy food. And the nice thing about cooperatives, the way we know that they're often run as nonprofits. So they have a board of directors and an executive that runs it. And all they really have to do is cover the cost of running their business. So it's a not for profit business where they can make money over and above their operating costs, but it's not for profit.
Right.
And if it's done right, it's a pretty sound model.
Mm-hmm. So
I am going to school in the IT field. I'm really wanting to focus in on web design and website stuff, but it seems like I'm being pushed.
Might get shoved into security.
Security. But
so if there's more than one of you, would that make you security forces for computers?
He uses two monitors is now security forces, not security force.
all right, guys. Well, we've been on here for over an hour and a half.
Again.
And so we're going to call it a night and go collect barking dogs and children and
all that fun stuff. Yeah, I've got a barking
children,
dog that needs to be put up for the night. Been trying to reach a child and nobody's answering me, so oh well.
So guys, thanks for coming in and hanging out with us.
Bear with me.
Farmer Brad said he's a front-end web developer. That's cool.
Cool.
Try to become full stack web developer.
Yeah, that's both front end and back end.
Yeah. So.
What are you doing?
Right? So cool.
I'm getting ready. I got this.
Uh-oh.
Are you ready? It's on the wall, you know.
Oh, he took a picture.
So I want to thank everybody for coming out and hanging out with us again tonight. And we enjoyed.
Yeah, cybersecurity's where the money is. Yeah.
We enjoyed hanging out with y'all tonight, and so.
He's like shaking his head. Remember to plant smiles,
Grow giggles.
harvest hogs,
Build cow sheds.
And
Harvest the love.
All right, good night, y'all. Y'all have a good rest of your weekend.
Good night, everybody.